I know who you are. Uh, called you 63? Well, goddamn, we're going to have to kick their ass. We'll find them and kick their ass. No worries about that. What was I going to do? What was the plan today? Oh, I was going to do, I still have a cough. So that's still a thing. So I'll be coughing throughout the stream. I was going to talk about my week. You know, typically my weeks are pretty boring. Do I got like hair stuck? Is that? Oh, that's my hair. I gotta get a haircut, man. I thought I had some of that wig stuck to me. Jealous of all the sexy. That could be it. That could be it. We might be onto something there. Is the music all right? Should I turn that down a little more? Let's turn it down just a little more there. My week, like in general, like most of my weeks are pretty boring. Flashbacks to Jane Silent Bob Strike and Idiots. Yeah, pretty much. Had kind of an interesting week, you know, at work and stuff. Is this focused? I didn't even look at that. It looks fairly focused. I was like, so last, what was it? Last Sunday, I was doing squats at the gym. I've been trying to do squats, integrate that into my workout. And the problem with it is, like, I get injured a lot doing it, but it's one of the best, like, leg exercises to do. And I've been trying to hit legs more often because I have back issues. And the more I do squats, the better my back does in general. It strengthens the hell out of my back. But I also get injuries and stuff too. My right knee was kind of like slightly hurting after that gym session. And then it wasn't until Wednesday I woke up and my knee was just locked up. It was like basically I had a fucking never miss leg day. Absolutely. It was like my right leg was just a pirate leg. So I went to work walking like a pirate the entire day. And it was not a fun experience. Everybody was looking at me funny, but you know, I don't really care. As you guys, if you've watched this stream, you know, I don't get embarrassed. Like that's not a thing that happens. So I just, you know, I don't want to miss work for just a stupid knee thing, right? So went to work, walked around like a pirate all day, but then I had like weird stuff happen, like, because I was walking so odd. I had like massive chafing on my inner thighs like I used to get when I ran a lot. Like I ran a lot when I was younger because I played sports and stuff. But then, and then also in the military, but I wouldn't really get that unless I ran like a long distance. But as I've gotten older and like gotten a little bit larger in terms of like my thighs and things like that, because I was really skinny when I was younger. As I've gotten older, it's, you know, the thighs get a little bigger and then you run or something and you get that massive chafing down there. And so I had that from just walking like a pirate all day. Getting prepped for being a pirate in ashes, absolutely. And so that was kind of interesting. And then like today, actually the knee is feeling a lot better today, but then my calves were kind of hurting. But anyways, my job in general is pretty boring. I've been at the same place for 18 years, so to have something different for a change, even if it's me being injured, is kind of a, dude, my glasses are fogged up. What is going on? I should not have worn a long sleeve shirt, apparently. It's a little warmer in here than normal. That's why you always keep a stick of butter in your pocket. Yeah. Oh, and then, okay, so now, little story. My wife, right before the stream today, she tells me she wants to paint the bricks. And I'm like, here's the thing about Ryve, or the person that embodies Ryve, the real person, maybe a little bit of both. Like I don't like to spend money on things. You getting too worked up, Ryve? Don't forget the beef. yeah. Like I don't like to spend money on things, and in general, my default thing is just not spend money. If I can just not spend money, I'm very happy doing that. Like until like the idea of spending money on painting the bricks. So like our house has like brick siding, but it also has masonite. It's kind of a mix, kind of bricks in the lower areas. And the masonite needs painted, so sure, we'll get that painted. But or I might do it myself. I did it myself on the last house. It's a lot of work, but it's not hard. It's just time consuming. Obviously, I need my knee to heal up to do that. But she wants to paint the bricks, and I was like, I've never heard, like, I know sometimes people paint bricks, but it's like she invents things that that need to be done, right? And I don't quite get that. She kind of showed me like pictures of it, like lime. They put like a lime on it, and I'm like, what? Why would you do that? It's just a bunch of shit on your bricks. Like I will be honest though, it did look pretty good actually, the lime shit on the bricks, but I don't know, for me, like I wouldn't paint bricks unless my bricks were, I don't know, if they were like stained or something. Like, I don't know, what if I had like a horse and it was shitting on my bricks all day and I couldn't get the shit stains off? Then I would paint the bricks, but I'm not going to paint the bricks just for aesthetic reasons, because I think bricks in general look kind of good. Like, I think they look decent. So I'm not going to paint my bricks if I don't have to. So that's that story. And, I told her, like, I'll ask these random people on the internet what they think about painting bricks, and see what they say. I don't know. Do you guys live in a domicile where your bricks are painted? Because I just don't think that's a common thing. So that's that's my week. A pretty boring week, as is typical for me. I do have this TTS thing set up. And so what you do is you can use channel points. Vandar has painted bricks. Grimwell has bricks that aren't painted. It looks okay on some houses. Yeah, it can look good on some houses. You should bait your bricks, Kerm. That would be cool. Cinder blocks, yes. Red clay bricks. Yeah, they're red clay bricks, Like cinder blocks, yeah, you definitely want to paint those. Those look like shit. So... bricked up but not painted. Yeah, that's the way to be, dude. Bricks in general is an awesome siding because obviously extremely low maintenance, right? So you can use channel points, bits, and donations to do these things, which are very exciting. And here's the example how they use that. There's the website there. The poll last week, Ash's relation is the first guest that we'll have on probably next week. I'm taking my glasses off because they're fogged up and my hat. So apparently warm. So I don't know, maybe next week or the week after. We'll see how we do this week on what I have planned for this week. We might need to extend that into the week after. And I'm always looking for ideas on... things to do for these streams and of course YouTube videos, because I've always struggled to find YouTube video ideas, because obviously without a game it's just like, what do I do? I've covered everything already. And now I'm trying to do it with a stream too, and it's like, holy shit, how I'm going to do a stream every week, a different topic every week, it's going to be difficult. No, I don't think you paint bricks if they have the graffiti on them. You would sandblast it to not paint them. Yeah, dude, yeah, that would be a good idea. That would work. Could paint trees on the bricks. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I definitely am not in favor of painting my bricks. It seems like that would be expensive, and the bricks look fine. You just got to match the color of the masonite, right, to make it work. Like, that's all you have to do. So... I was going to talk about this dev discussion, time dedication. Expert and casual can be subjective terms. What does being an expert or a casual mean to you? I don't think it's that subjective. I think expert would be, to me, like somebody that's top 5%, like in their field. Like if you're looking at like, I don't know, like a surgeon. Like there's no such thing as a casual surgeon, so maybe that's like a bad example. But you were looking at like... I guess a surgeon, like, just even like in surgery, like the profession of surgery, you have lower tier surgeons. Like you have people that like, you start out like you just remove the fucking appendix over and over again. That's your first fucking thing you do. And then you eventually, to become a brain surgeon, you have to have performed like 1,000 surgeries already, right? So the casual would be the guy that's doing appendectomies or however the fuck you say that. Whereas the expert would be the brain surgeon. I don't think I say subjective. I don't think there's anything subjective about expert and casual. I think it's pretty clear what those two are. Hardcore casual is here to take the fuck out of me. Yeah. What are the differences you see now in MMO terms? Like, again, I think expert, like everybody, I think every MMO player that's played MMOs for over 10 years, they all think they're experts. You see that a lot. Like every single MMO player thinks they're an expert. But to me, expert is something that's like, again, top 5% type of person. That's not reserved for everybody. Like not everybody can be an expert. If you survey MMO players, you'd probably get like 50% of them saying they're experts, and that's not how it works. I think MMOs are very difficult to be expert in, right? Like because they're so complex. Especially like Ashes types of MMOs. They're very complex. To be an expert in Ashes, you're going to have to be an expert in PvP, PvE, economy, housing, the freeholds, nodes, all aspects of the nodes. Whereas if you want to be an expert in and I'll pick on retail WoW a little bit, but if you want to be an expert in that, it is simply, you can very much be specialized. If you want to focus only on PvE and only like raiding, you can do that. And you don't have to worry about any fucking thing else except that, right? So you could be an expert in one specific category of retail WoW without any problems. But being an expert in one specific category of Ashes means that you're not truly an expert because there's so many different things involved. Mechanic would be a good one. There are people change oil versus build. Oh yes, absolutely, dude. That's a great example. Here's the thing about mechanics that people don't get. Mechanic is not like, you need some brains to be a mechanic in the modern era because everything is so complex. These engines are so complex. Like I could work on like a 350. Like I could work on that, right? Because it's like you open it up, the hood, and everything is there. And it's like, you got a big fucking air filter on top. You have a carburetor. Like everything's big and mechanical, easy to get to. Whereas these modern engines, you open up the hood and you cannot get to anything. It's all crammed in there so tight. So these, to be like a Ford mechanic or Chevy or any of the major brands, there's a lot of training those guys go to. It's not necessarily, it's not a brain dead profession like some people think it is. Hours into the 10K hours. Yeah. That's, the 10K, the 10,000 hour rule. Yeah. There's CPUs inside. Absolutely. Is time spent in emerald? Yeah, of course. Like you're not going to become an expert. And again, the 10K, 10,000 hour rule that Don Warden brought up, to become an expert. Like it depends on the field, right? Like brain surgeon, you're talking like 50,000 hours. Mechanic might be a 10,000 hour, expert field. Do you feel you're an expert in them, but not? Do you feel like some MRGs or systems within them? But yeah, I think a lot of people, if they're being honest with themselves, would be like, yeah, I'm an expert in some aspects of MMOs, but not every single aspect. I think that's, but everybody thinks they're an expert. That's pretty common. So that's all I had for that. Not very exciting. I know. This is the next thing, which is very much not exciting, but I've been maintaining a list of questions for Ashes of Creation. In the off chance that a dev is ever in the stream, or, in the very off chance that the 17th most popular Ashes of Creation content creator gets to interview like Steven or somebody like that someday, at least I'll be prepared. So I have all these questions, and we're going to go through them. My glasses are fogging up again. Hold on, I'm going to go change shirts. This is ridiculous. I'll be right back. Oh, I wasn't even on the fucking right screen there. Oops. I wasn't on the right screen. That's a dev discussion. There's Ashes of Relation. This has not been a good stream so far. Things are not working very well. There's the TTS Lab stuff. We talked about that. And then Ashes of Relation dominated that poll last week. And then dev discussion. And then now we're on to the questions. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully I'm not so hot now. It's just hot in here. I don't know why it's so hot in this room right now. It's normally not. I'm in the basement. You recommended going to Toyota is by far the most reliable, in my opinion. Toyotas are extremely reliable. The Toyota Tacomas are incredibly reliable. So anyways, I kind of messed up the first part of the stream here a little bit because I wasn't on the right thing. But we're going to go through these, and I was going to get some feedback from you guys. And if you guys have any Ashes questions that you haven't, just be able to get, hey, Burns, nice to see you. Hey, I got to get you on Ryvelations one of these days because you dominated that poll last week. Maybe next week or the week after. We'll have to see how this week goes. If I get through this, we'll do it next week. If you're available, obviously. I know you're a busy guy. So I tried to rank these. Now, it's very difficult to rank 38 questions, right? But I tried to kind of rank these. And my first one is, with the massive scope and complexity of the design of Ashes, is there a point that you would consider removing some of the ancillary systems originally intended for launch? If so, what systems? I don't know what he would answer on that, but I suspect he would say, no, we're going to have everything in there. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good question. Because I think he's just going to say, no, we're going to have everything. We've got this. Tango, what's up, buddy? Yes, toilets. Yeah, I've dominated a few toilets. We've only had Toyotas, absolutely. Yeah, smart man. Toyotas are fantastic vehicles. Dude, I tell you, man, as you get older, things start to sag, and there's this toilet that I've always used at work, and I sat down on it the other day, and my balls were in the water. So I don't know if either the water level of the toilet came up or my balls are actually sagging, but I think my balls are sagging. So a story you probably did not want to hear, but a story I'm telling you anyways. So feedback on this question. Anybody have any thoughts about that? Dawn, I know you probably have some thoughts. I don't know. Let's see. Dawn was talking about vehicles back there. You can still reach everything, whereas the domestics were like, yeah, that's true. I have a Nissan, and honestly, you can still you can do some basic repairs. We'll talk about scrotoplasties when I'm on. Dude, yeah. I'd like to talk a little bit about what you do as a doctor, because I've worked in a hospital for 18 years, and actually more than that technically from my military days. But I work on medical equipment. I work in the biomed department in a hospital, and that's also what I did in the military. So obviously I come from a very different perspective, but I work with I talk to doctors fairly frequently, but usually it's a doctor that's yelling at me because their equipment doesn't work. I've walked into like, I'm usually the guy that goes into like the surgeries and fixes shit like with a patient on the table because I've been around for a long time. And man, you walk into some weird shit in the OR rooms, man. Especially the endo. That's a rough one to have to go into endo. And it's always like, here's what happens in endo. They fucking like, so the doctor will, something will not be working right, and they'll just start hammering buttons and start fucking with all the settings. And they'll call down and they'll be like, when I press the button to take a picture on the scope, it freezes the display. And I'm like, well, you messed up the settings probably. And they don't like that, of course, but I usually don't word it quite like that. I try to be more diplomatic, because surgeons are usually just very mad all the time, which I get. When their equipment's not working in the middle of a case, that's a big deal, right? So I get their perspective. So anyways, I'll go up there, I'll go change the fucking setting. I have to scrub, you have to put all this shit on, put this fucking mask on, everything. Go in there, you have to our endo rooms are kind of small, so you have to like waddle fucking around in there so you're not like getting in the sterile field. And it's just, I go to the keyboard, I go to the settings, I change the, take a picture button, I turn the freeze thing off, and I turn the camera thing back on. And then they ask, what'd you do? I was like, I changed the setting. That's what I did. So it's a good time. We'll talk about how scrotoplasties is pinned. Some systems. I mean, I don't work on pets, burns. No, the main thing I work on these days is imaging equipment, and I work on nuclear medicine, which is similar to PET, as you know, but a little different. The PET that we have is under contract, and the same with our CT and MRI. But I work on the nuclear medicine. I work on all the X-ray rooms. I work on the portable X-rays, and the C-arms in the ORs. That's kind of my specialty, but I work on everything in the hospital for the most part. Good reason to be angry. Hey, Ratsu. First time chat. ID10. Yep. ID10T error. We say that all the time. That's what the AT guys used to call it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So that is question one. We know the normal death penalty incurs a myriad of penalties for the player, but we don't know the numbers behind the penalty. What percentage of materials do players drop? How much grunt is dropped? How severe is the skill and stand dampening? So just like I want them to expand upon what the death penalty is. Question one, feedback miss. Do you want to give feedback on that, Don? With the massive scope of the design of Ashes, is there a point you would consider removing some of the systems? I'm pretty sure Steven's just going to say, no, we're going to have everything. We've got this. That's probably a wasted question. My plan with these, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I was going to create a fucking bracket of 38 questions and then have you guys vote it bracket style, but I don't know if that's going to work very well. I'm not sure exactly, but what I kind of want you guys to help me like rank these. I don't know how to do it really, but save that for the last question after. Absolutely. Already posted. I missed it. Let me scroll up. Maybe a word to that if A2 shows that system. Oh, okay. Maybe reword it if A2 shows that systems need changing, that would they? I gotcha. Is there a point that we would consider? Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Is there a point that you consider removing some of the ancillaries? If alpha 2 shows it is needed. Does that sound all right? I don't know if that sounds good. Do you consider after A2 changing systems? Oh, changing systems. This is just like remove systems is what the question is. So I would do that as probably another question. I did have that as a question at one point, and I decided to take it out because I know the answer to it. Like the question was, how much are you willing to change your game after Alpha 2 testing starts? But I know the answer to that is like we have a core philosophy that's never changing. We'll change some minor details. I know that's the answer because that's the answer he gives every time, right? That's the answer he gives every time. No, not likely anytime soon, but in case it ever happens, I'll be ready to go. I'm not likely to interview him anytime soon. Unless he's in the chat here. Sometimes when I'm streaming, I'll go at Steven just to see if he's here. Nope, not here. Let's see if Quaternian Slurp is here. Nope. Damn it. All right, well, can't ask him the question right now. So I did have that as a question, Don, but he always answers that the exact same way. He always is like, our core philosophies are never changing. Like PvP always on and, is not changing. Like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. The lack of scrotoplasty. Dude, I wonder as surgeons, like, is there like, because obviously I work with surgeons, but I don't know the surgeon game, but is there like do you fuck up or something to become a scrotum surgeon? Is there something like you got to do to mess up to all of a sudden you're the scrotum guy? You're going to do scrotum tucks from now on because you killed that guy last week. I don't know, man. Or endo would be one. Like how do you end up as an endoscopy like surgeon? It's not really a surgeon. Is it? I don't know what the word is, but endoscopy something. But how do you end up in that profession? Like kids when they're growing up aren't like, man, when I grow up, I want to stick things in people's butt. I mean, there's probably people that do want to do that for other reasons, but not like foreign objects, you know what I mean? But I don't know how people get in these professions. That's what how do you get to that point? And I suppose there's like endotechs and stuff that are like really like their job, but I suppose a lot of them probably don't like their job. As I was watching you this morning, I wonder about your branding. What does some call you? Yeah, he's got a lot of names. Urologist is big time bucks, dude. Absolutely. You've done some, they're great. Oh, you've done some endos? Oh, man. Have you ever gone in there and it's like they didn't properly, because, when you do an endo, you have to take a ton of laxatives, You ever gone in there and it's like they didn't do the thing, so there's a bunch of stuff in there. It's like you can't see anything. You ever had that issue? So I just wonder, man, like that's got to be frustrating. Don't fuck with endo people, man. They cannot be happy, dude. Ass man. Yep. Fucking Seinfeld, ass man. The ass man. Proctologist, right? Yeah. You've done some scrotoplasties. Holy shit. So you are a surgeon, Burns. Gave it her exorcism in the bill. is a scrotoplasty like common? Because I don't know, man. Like, I actually don't mind like that my scrotum has enlarged as I've gotten older. Like, it's not usually a problem. Like, you know, the balls in the toilet water is not a huge deal for me. In fact, it's kind of relaxing. Not every toilet does it though. Some toilets have like that higher water. I don't know what's going on there, but depends how cold it is too, I suppose. We're not getting very far on these questions. The normal death penalty. I just want to know more about the normal death penalty. I want to know more about Guild Wars and Node Wars. Because they haven't talked hardly at all about Guild Wars and Node Wars. So I just want to know more about them. And people will be like, well, this is already on the wiki. Like, no, it's not. Like, very little is on there. There's always these people that are freaking out about asking them questions that are already on the wiki. But every time people ask them questions that are already, where there's some information on the wiki, like, we get completely new information. Like, it's completely changed. The direction's completely changed. Can you tell us more about guild halls? We don't know hardly anything about guild halls. What are your contingency plans should Intrepid need more funding to continue development? I think they have a lot of funding. I don't think they have infinite funding. And this game's going to take a long time to make. And that's a question. That's a valid question, I think. Can you tell us the scope of the launch of Alpha 2? Obviously, this question will be obsolete here in a few months. What did I just do? I did a Grammarly thing. I need to turn this Grammarly off here. There we go. For this, yeah. Grammarly is pretty nice, but sometimes it's annoying. Can you tell us the scope of the launch of Alpha 2? How many zones? Because we talked about this last week, right? I'd love to know what the Alpha 2 sales were up to January 17th. They have to have shot up. Absolutely. Do we know if monster coin events will be able to be used when a node is under protection? That's a good one. I'm going to put it, for me, I wouldn't put it as a top question, but somewhere down here. Do we know? That's a good question. If monster coin events. Kind of a niche question, so that's why I'm putting it lower, but. Used a node. So the siege protection timer when a node levels up. or like the declaration timer, those sort of things. So many clips here. I imagine there's been a lot of clips created in the last 10 minutes of in-depth scrotum discussion. Absolutely. You never know. Steven could pop in and he might hear some of these conversations we're having and take an interest in them. You never know. Okay. So where was I up here? Scope of Alpha 2 launch. How much of Alpha 1 development has carried over to Alpha 2? I get the feeling not very much has. So that's a top question for me. Where's Bill Trost? This guy was hired as the lead, what was his title? Lead designer of some sort. And we haven't heard from him or seen from him since he was hired. And that was probably about a year ago at this point. Scrotums of creation. Absolutely. Or the benefits to in-node mansions. They haven't talked about the in-node mansions much. But what used to be said was at the village stage, there was 8 in-node houses that would be created at the village stage of a node, stage 3. And then those would, every time the node levels up, they get bigger and bigger. And then at the metropolis stage, they're mansions. So there would be 8 of those in each metropolis node, and there's 5 of those. So there's 5 max metropolis nodes. Sorry for the coughing, but I cannot get my cough to go away. Another medical problem there, but I'm getting old apparently. But yeah, there has to be. I get the feeling like these in-node mansions, just like premium real estate in arcades or similar games. Because you can buy and sell these. These are going to be some of the most valuable things in the game outside of freeholds in terms of real estate and in terms of probably anything, like even like probably items and things. I kind of get the feeling these could be like massively important or very valuable. Not necessarily better, but just like a prestige thing. Obviously, like more, you could put more furniture, more storage boxes and things in them. So there's benefits to them, but I don't think they'll be like drastically more beneficial to own an in-node mansion versus just a regular size house. But I think it'll be a prestige thing for sure, because they'll probably be like centrally located in the node would be my guess, like close to all the major stuff, all the major crafting stations. Sorry guys. So I have a feeling they'll be sought after, but we have heard hardly anything about them. Scroto Baggins, lead game designer, Rat. Yeah, thank you. Nodes 3 win, absolutely. Absolutely. They said that that's not a thing anymore, right? Didn't they say that? Like, they're not going to be doing those anymore. At one of the streams, he said, we're going to move on from that idea. I don't know why I cannot stop coughing. 21 grace period where a node cannot be sieged after advancing to a new node stage, and with stage 4 only taking many days, stage 5 taking a few weeks. So if you watched my video today, that's kind of where this question came from. How will nodes that are actively being leveled and not restricted in level by the vassal system actually be sieged? So my question is, as this thing levels like constantly, right? I don't know where this one's kind of like buried in the wiki. It's a little hard to find. It's a little hard to find. But anyways, it's there somewhere. Because I just looked at it. It's not on this page. I don't know where it's at. I think it's on the node advancement page, actually. I think there's a node advancement page. Yeah. So I think it's here. How about day? Would that work? Yeah, it'll be a little better. Nope. I don't know where it is, but trust me, it's there because I just saw it today. And I linked it in the video. I had it clipped in the video, so it's there. So every time it levels, there's a 21-day grace period where you can't siege it. But then you look at, this chart here only takes many days. So you could go from 3 to 4, certainly in less than 21 days, and potentially even up to stage 5 in less than 21 days, or maybe a little bit more. So that you like the window to siege it, when does that ever happen? It's a little loophole I found, maybe. Because they say like a lot of things, and then it gets put in the wiki, and then, as you're like making a 2-hour long video, actually about 2.5 hours is the, it's how long the script is for Ashes of Creation, everything known in 2024 currently. I'm trying to cut it down to 2 hours. I'm trying to cut some shit out to where it's only 2 hours long. But as you go through and write that script, you find things that make you go, how does that work together? So that's one of them. So how would that actually work? This is, of course, tanks relevant in PvP. For me, Warhammer Online had the best PvP tanks, so they could just copy them. So that's why I have that question there. This, of course, this is the question. This is the YouTube question that they refused to answer that time, but I have not asked it again. Am I winning? Of course, buddy. Sneckers, welcome in, buddy. Sneckers with the 12 billion gifted subs the other day. Appreciate you, buddy. I don't know if I'm winning. I'm probably not winning. It's going to be nutty. I don't know why I'm doing it. I don't know why I did it last time. I don't know why I'm doing it this time. But I'm doing it, I guess. So I don't know. I think after doing a 2-hour-long Ashes video, or 2.5, was what it could end up being. You should get to interview Steven. I think that should be a rule. So that's why I have all these questions, so I can interview him after I make that video. This is the question. This is the YouTube question from that live stream where they kind of blue-balled me, at least. Adaptive boss scaling in open world dungeons, which affects the drop tables for a group. How does that work with multiple groups in the dungeon? If Group A has killed the first 2 bosses in a dungeon and did well on them, thereby increasing the drop tables of the 3rd boss, and is currently fighting this boss, Group B comes and kills them and then kills this boss. It's kind of a complex question, and I should probably reword it. But the question is simply, open world dungeons have adaptive scaling. If you kill the first boss really quickly, the next boss is harder and has better drops. What if another group comes in, kills you, and then kills that boss? That's the question. I know the answer is probably going to be they're going to get the better drop table. So that's why I have this one clear down at 14. But it's just one of those things where it's like, they say they have this system, but how do you actually make that work in practice? That's kind of why I have that question there. Stream 24 hours. Yeah, absolutely. With the massive world map, minimum fast travel, and the idea of players having a home node, and with each node having content for multiple level ranges, are you at all concerned that too many players might stay in one area of the map? Or do you have incentives for people to explore besides just for getting resources that are rare in their location? So we know that the incentives to explore are your area will not have some resources that other areas have, or if they do, they'll be rare in your location. So you'll have that, but you could just have traders that are importing these things. You'll have importers and exporters, basically. Oh, we got some Russian first-time chat. Yeah, dude, I did. I stole it. Ryvelations is kind of similar to Ash's relation. We should probably talk more about scrotum tucks and things. Yes, hi Russia, absolutely. A lot of a lot of fans of Ash's creation in Russia, I assume. With the adaptive boss scaling, we did that one. So yeah, I just kind of get the feeling like people are going to say, fuck it, I don't want to travel a lot because it's so big and it's going to take so long to get places. They'd rather just pay somebody to import shit for them, right? So that's that question. It is said that after a node is destroyed in a siege, any freeholds that were attached to that node have a 1-week grace period where they can fall under the purview of a new node's ZOI and not be destroyed. However, isn't the entire map always covered by some node's ZOI at all times? Yeah, like every inch of the map is always covered by a ZOI. That's the way I take it, unless I'm misreading it. So if you destroy a node in a siege, wouldn't that freehold automatically just be in a new ZOI of a new node? Because they say that you have a 1-week grace period, but isn't every inch of the world map covered in some sort of ZOI? Now, maybe it's not a stage 3 or higher ZOI. That could be it. So that's probably the answer to that. It could be like a stage 1 or 2, and that stage 1 or 2 could be locked from progressing because they're in the vassal system, and maybe that's why. Maybe that's why that exists. Is there any sort of plans for lower death penalties or diminishing returns on death penalties on repeated deaths for players? Yeah. So I had the death penalty question earlier, but like one question I have with death penalties is like in PvE encounters, difficult ones, you will die. That's normal to die in PvE encounters, the hard ones, right? Especially as you're learning them. So my question is there any kind of diminishing returns? Because imagine you go wipe on this really hard boss, and then you got to go grind off your XP debt after every single wipe. That would be painful after a while. As it turned out, Ashes of Creation, a lot of Russians will go there. Yeah, if it's good, yeah, I get what you mean. If it's good, people will play it. You might have a week to become an official citizen to move for the freehold to move over. Yeah, I get that. That could be the thing. Siege summons. It's one of those little known things about Ashes, the siege summons. They mentioned in 2017 or something, and they have not talked about since. I think I brought this up last week. Monumental effects during a siege. Classes will need to be in the same group or siege. So they've talked about summoners can group together to create like a siege golem, like a giant golem. Or tanks could group together to create this like giant wall thing that they showcased during like the apocalypse days, right? Yeah. What's the current average time to kill in PvP? That's a me question. I'd like to know what that is. Because they used to say, like, this is a very outdated quote here. But they used to say, like, 1 minute, which is 30 seconds to a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. Which is a massive amount of time. But I will say...
it's bloodshed.
If you look at this... Look how many people are beating on this person here. And how long they last. That looks like it's still a pretty high time to kill to me. The term open development is more of a, spectrum, absolutely. And then Chibi Bree here, is she in this one? She was a cleric.
Don't let them get away!
And she survived forever. So we've had this discussion in the guild about clerics. You know, clerics in Alpha 1 were insane. You couldn't kill them. In fact, if you guys want, I could pull up some very old videos of mine when I didn't know how to edit or anything. Like I was, when I played Alpha 1. Where I was like 1v5ing people like consistently, and because clerics were just so stupid, man. And so I played Alpha 1 pretty much solo because at the time I didn't really have a guild. So during like the lead up to the big test and the weekend test they had before that, obviously I found out that cleric was extremely overpowered, and obviously decided since I'm playing solo, I'm gonna play cleric. So it'll just be easier. Because they were just kind of gods in Alpha 1. But according to this, they still kind of are.
I think we may...
Here's Chibi Bree. Look how long she survives.
Chibi Bree?
She's got like an entire raid hitting her. Look at that, dude. Clerics are fucking OP as fuck. It's like... They were in Alpha 1, they still are in Alpha 2. She survived for a long-ass time there. Now, the caravan driver, if you paid very close attention during the caravan live stream, they said that the caravan driver gets like a huge buff that makes them very hard to kill. So, like, you can target the caravan driver individually. Right. I'm pretty sure you can.
Take down the caravan.
Pretty sure they've said that, and I'm pretty sure I've seen them actually target the driver before. But it takes a long time to kill the driver, so you might as well just kill the caravan. It's probably just as easy. So that's what this is. That's why this person survives. But Chibi Bree lasted a long-ass time. I mean, that's pretty insane right there. There's CC in there. Somebody pulled. That was probably the tank pull there. That's pretty insane. Like, clerics... I hope, like, it's fine that clerics can survive a large amount of players. That's absolutely fine to me. But I don't want them to be able to do a lot of damage too. If you can kill the driver, take over the caravan. You can kill the driver and you can take it over and drive it for a little bit, is what they said. You were saying the other night about 8v8, one team of 8 clerics, not having a DPS, but you'll have to focus fire and it'd still be pretty quick. Yeah. Yeah, if you focus fire properly. 8 clerics could be fucking insane if you spec maximum DPS in a cleric. And then you run 8v8, you run 8-man teams. The hot stacked 3 times, cost stamina. Yeah, that was the thing. Everybody would stack the hot. I could find you my, where the fuck is my videos? It's very old. It's a very old video. Here's Siege Highlights #1. Oh, that's when I used the old intro thing. Fancy new intro, I called it. I don't know. This is the Siege.
This guy's an easy pick.
I didn't have a very good camera back then. This is how long Ashes have been in development. I look a lot younger in that picture, in that way than I do now. I've aged a lot, man. Holy shit. They did a lot of damage too, so I just like run up on people and just like fucking. If you used what was it? The spear thing. I don't forget what that was called. Just follow that up with the whip thing. I forget what that was called too. But then yeah, look, I'm always rolling the hots on nonstop. Yeah, I always had the hots like rolling. You could stack it. See the 3 stacks of the hot. And then like they just couldn't kill you because your healing was so insane.
It's not nice.
All very bad editing. But this is Overlord. They were on Overlord and Stormborn. They were on that server. And I was just kind of playing by myself. They were fighting the dragon and like a whole group would like turn around and attack me and I would just not die. Now I, had difficulty killing them because they had healers and stuff, but I'd get a few kills here and there.
At all, man. He's like, nah, man. Nah.
So yeah, they're still pretty OP. They're still pretty OP. I can't wait to do some PvP highlights in Alpha 2, I'll say that. Just found out the game, so just check it out on Twitch now. Absolutely. Yo, sorry to ask. This is live, right? Well, yeah, I'm live. The video I showed is definitely not live. I want to see 5. I don't want to see 5 people trying to kill a cleric. They need to silence and stuns and reduce healing. Yeah, the people are going to have to kill clerics. They're going to have to properly rotate their CCs and stuff. It's going to take some skill, obviously, to kill them. Like, we were talking about this in the guild as well. Thank you for the follow. We were talking about this as well in the guild. Like, there will be classes. There's always a class that's specialized as, like, a healer killer in PvP MMOs. And, rogues are often that thing, right? Because they have stealth. They can walk up and get the opener, as we call it in PvP, where you get the element of surprise, you get the first hit, you get the first stun off. So they'll get the opener, and then you can get a stun in, and you can maybe get them down to like half health. And obviously they're not prepared, so they're not rolling their hots and shit on themselves. And then obviously you're going to have to use some more CC and stuff, but being able to stun lock a cleric all the way to 0, probably not going to be able to do that. But you're gonna, if you have enough burst and you have a good burst combo, like rogues potentially, you'd have to have a shit ton of burst damage. No, beta is not open. You can't. There's no way to buy into it currently. There's an Alpha 2 coming up in Q3 that you can, eventually they will open up to be able to buy back into that. But not currently, But it's $250. So, yeah, it's not true stealth with a rogue, right? Not like in most MMOs where It's just like a pure stealth where you can't see them. You can still see them. Where was that here? Average time to kill. So we got sidetracked after I talked about average time to kill. There's a long time to kill still in PvP. Like even like these DPS, even some of these DPSs with a lot of people hitting them.
This is our loot.
Of course, that Orbificator is a tank, I believe, there, right?
This is our loot.
I think he's a tank. Obviously, Fupo tank is a tank. Control tank is a tank. You see a bunch of tanks still alive there.
Don't let them get away.
That's to be expected. This is a mage. Mage blew up pretty good there. But that's with 4 people focusing him and a nice stun that came in there. So I think it's still a high time to kill, like maybe a little too high. But when they talk about time to kill, what they mean is in 1v1 combat without people using cooldowns or defensive cooldowns. You could use offensive cooldowns, but not defensive cooldowns, and you're just beating on each other. 30 seconds to a minute is what they said, but that was a long time ago. So that's why I have that question. Will leveling to 50 and gearing up as you go be hindered by the higher tier processing being only available on freeholds at level 50? So, like, to get a freehold, you have to get to level 50 to complete the Lore's quest. So my question is, the Master and Grandmaster processing and Master and Grandmaster crafting must only be for in-game gear, not for leveling to 50 gear. So that's the reason for that question. Have you finalized whether castle sieges will be instance or in the open world? That's a question that I've had for a long time. I want them to be instance so they're not cheesed with numbers. I get the feeling players, thank you for the follow, Ascarian. Get the feeling players will have a surprise if more skills needed than they think to target and kill single people. Yeah. Rogue is harder to detect. Yeah, I would like to see that. I am redoing it, Jinx, and it sucks, but it'll be good when it's done. It's a tremendous amount of time to do it, but it'll be good. Do we know? We added this earlier. What will be the corruption score from one corrupted kill of a same level player? So, how much corruption do you get when you kill a same level player? We know that corruption is a thing. We know that corruption score is a thing. But what we don't know is, the exact amount that you would get and the exact penalties. Kind of like with the death penalty, where we don't know the exact numbers yet. I would just like to hear some exact numbers. So that's why I have that question. Without dying, how long would it take for this person to grind off this corruption score? Like, knowing these kind of things would help with the discussion that constantly exists around the corruption system. Because right now we can't. Because I was asked on Twitter, of all places, by Redbeard Flynn when he made his video. And if you saw his video, you noticed I was in his video, but like, I can't really tell you, man, because like they haven't really actually told us the exact details yet. So it's, I think corruption looks pretty punishing on paper. But there's some things like not having to fight back. The only way to give somebody a penalty in the corruption system is to not fight back. And that might feel a little weird, like, because people are naturally going to fight back, right? So I could see at some point them needing to put a penalty in for people that just, I don't know, maybe like a small amount of corruption if you take somebody like under 20% health, like repeatedly without killing them. Because that's kind of just harassment at that point. Now, I'm a PvP fan. Like, I don't want people to like misconstrue this as like I want this to be like a Care Bear game, because I love PvP and MMOs. That's why I'm excited about Ashes. But I also know that we need players of all types in this game for it to succeed. It can't be just a PvPer game. We need PvE fans. We need everybody. Now, it's not going to be for everybody, obviously, but it needs to be for at least 40 to 50% of the MMO player base. With the amount of money they're putting into this game, it cannot completely not be for PvE players. There's a lifetime PK value score during the Asmongold interview that you talked about. How will that influence how fast a player's corruption score will increase? So this is a little known thing about Ashes, and I'm working on a video, little known things about Ashes. I need to add that to that. I don't know if I put that in the last one, but I've already done one of those videos, of course, but we're going to do another one. I just want to know more about that and how that, so your lifetime PK value score, if you constantly are getting corrupted, you got this lifetime value score, right? It's separate from your corruption score. And I don't know why I'm doing this, but if you have a very high lifetime PK value score, the next time you go kill somebody and get corrupted, you will get a much higher corruption score because of your lifetime PK value score being higher, which is a very little talked about thing. And another thing that should prevent too much ganking. But again, we'll have to see. Ashes is a highly complex game. Not everybody watches 10 guides. How robust is the tutorial? Ashes needs to have an incredible tutorial, in my opinion. Can you span on? I'm going to go kind of fast through these because I'm out of time. I only do an hour stream, but we're going to get through these here. Can you expand upon stealth? You know, we kind of saw stealth with the Ranger, but we haven't seen rogue stealth, and I don't know if rogue stealth is different from Ranger stealth. It won't make it. Yeah, and the Ranger, obviously, it's not completely visible. I wonder if rogue stealth is different, though, because that was called camouflage, right? I don't know if it's the exact same. Now, stealth works different in every MMO, right? I've seen, like, in Guild Wars 2, like you could actually kind of see like stealth players. It was very difficult, but you could see them. And you could damage them while they're stealth. Now, a lot of times it was just guessing where they might be because you see them stealth and you can guess the direction they might have taken. And you can damage them, and but it will not take them out of stealth when you damage them. Then other MMOs, you can damage them if they're in stealth with like an AoE or something like that. Or in Ashes, a template-based aimed type of skill. And if you damage them while they're in stealth, it takes them out of stealth. So that's what that question is. So I also want to know about stealth augments for secondary archetypes. Does it give... So if you select Rogue as a secondary, if you go Cleric Rogue, for instance, will that Cleric have stealth, like maybe a very short stealth, but a stealth nonetheless? That's a question I'd like answered. What else? Oh, Relic Transportation. I don't know if Hidden Dagger's still here, but he would be interested in this question because in Daok, this was obviously a thing. They've talked about when you siege a node that the relics could be looted, right? Although it's confusing. When you read this, it's a little confusing to me. Because... Where does it say this at? Limited access to the relics stored in a node reliquary are granted to players after a node is destroyed by a node siege. So to me, you might be able to, some of the relics might be looted, potentially. So how do you transport those? What I would like to see, what I'd love to see is you can loot them, but it takes a special bag. And there's like the player glows like a certain color or some sort of like, or there's a big icon above their head that says they have a relic or something. Like I want it to be obvious that this person has a relic. And I want that person to not be subject to the corruption system. I want you to be able to kill that person without becoming corrupt. And I want that relic to drop. Because that would be like Dayak, right? And that would be really cool. So, but then I want that person to be able to take that relic back to their node and put it in their node's reliquary. So it's like capture the flag, right? But with a item that's extremely valuable. Now, here's where I get confused. It says looting a relic from a node will create a shard of the relic. So are you actually looting the relic, or are you looting a shard of the relic? And the shard of the relic can be used for recipes for crafted items and enchantments, or a single-use buff. So to me, I don't know. It almost sounds like you're not actually looting the actual relic. You're looting the shard, which is unfortunate. I'd like it if you could actually loot the actual relic and take it back to your node. I think that would be cool. And I'd also, it's fine if like some of them get destroyed. Let's say half of the relics get destroyed in the siege and become shards of the relic. That's fine. But then like half of them, and it could be random RNG, I don't care. But half of them are in place, intact. You can take them with a special bag that you have to craft. And you can take them back to your node. I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome. They need to keep some in castles. Relics in castles would be nice too, just like Dayak. Double down the rogue, you get full stealth. That would be cool. That'd be cool. And run them back to your node. Yep. It should be tough to get back. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. I think heroes love the ability to kill anyone in a moment of passion. Yeah, absolutely. For city, maybe. Okay. What the fuck? What was that noise? Somebody. Oh, fuck, Paul. Oh, like, what the fuck? Discord call. I forgot I had that in there. Yeah. Trying to go through these comments, make sure I didn't miss anything too important here. Instant cancel sieges. Yeah. McDonald's, how can I help you? All right, I'm going to try to get through this real quick here. Relics transportation. Evasion and block. So they have active blocking, but they still have evasion and block stats. So how does that work together? How do you plan to balance guild levels and limit Surg guilds? Question I don't think they've ever actually answered fully. Patron guilds are the ones contributed the most. Does it mean large guilds will become patrons, or is there some balancing to give smaller guilds a chance? Kind of similar to this question. Highest level a node can reach that is not in a vassal chain. So they've talked about these buffer nodes now. That came up like last year. I don't know if I'll be able to find it very easily, but where the fuck is it? That was a hard one to find, but it is on the wiki. But it is there. So you have these buffer nodes that are not in a vassal chain. My assumption is they go to stage 5. They cannot go to stage 6, but that's the reason I have that question. I also have the question, why are they added? Why do they exist? What happens when a node siege is declared on a node during a node election process? Is the election postponed? Castle sieges happen this is a question I've had forever. Like, they say castle sieges happen every month, but people do have to declare for sieges. What happens if no one declares? So on a dead server, no one declares. Is it just NPC sieges? Probably, that's my guess. All right, to cast the castle siege scroll, it's a 5-minute cast. And you can kill the person, apparently, to prevent the cast. And is that killing of that person subject to the corruption system? Kind of a minor detail question. We've not seen the rogue or bard yet. Is it because of the complexity, or are they not as far along? along. That's my view. They're probably not as far along. At what character level will the race, religion, and social organization augments open up? So these different augments, besides your secondary, are they more or less powerful than the secondary archetype augments? That's that question. Those are all 39 questions. All 39 questions. I was going to put all these in here and then have you guys do like a bracket thing, but I don't feel like doing that, honestly. That seems like too much work, and I'm just going to kind of rank these on my own. And if you guys can think of any questions, always just send them to me, and if it's a good question, I'll add it here. Or if any of these questions, as I was going through these, you think, well, it's already been answered, or it could be reworded, just let me know at any point. But I'm going to call the questions done. And so next week we'll try to get Burns on here. Have it once a month, but some sieges are going to take months to collect mass to declare. Yeah. Well, node sieges do for sure. Castle sieges, I don't think require as much commitment from the attackers. Node sieges require a huge commitment from the attackers. So, what else do I have here? We're gonna do a little outro. Should we do an outro or should we just raid? I feel like I'm just gonna raid Jamie because I'm not really feeling doing an outro right now. I'll be honest. My cough is getting progressively worse the longer I talk here. So, are they streaming? Jamie's not on. Anybody else on? It's just me on. Thank you, PhantomX, for the follow. Turn your stream on real quick, Phant. I'll raid you. I'm looking through my list here to see if I have anybody that I could raid real quick. If not, it's obviously not too big of a deal. How about could raid Nathan Napalm. Let's raid Nathan Napalm. He's like a Pantheon, EverQuest. I like him. He's a good guy. Oh, thank you for the sub as well, Phantom X. Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it. If you guys don't know Phantom X, he is he's been doing a podcast, one of the longest podcasts about Ash's creation for Theory Forge, right? Is that what it's called? Theory Forge? I've watched quite 7 years, yeah. It's a very good podcast. Him and Diggs and who's the other guy? I can't remember it off the top of my head. But Diggs is very memorable because of the amazing beard. And Ashen Forge. The group is Theory Forge. The show is Ashen Forge. Neurotoxin. Yeah, the guy with the huge cup. He's got a huge cup. Yeah. Let's raid Nathan Napalm. And I got to get out of here because I cannot stop talking. Yeah, how old is Diggs? I am curious to that question as well. Old enough he is. Yep. All right, we're going to go raid Nathan here in a minute. Thanks for watching. A little bit more of a low-key stream this time. I think next week we're going to try to get old Burns on, if Burns is around and he's not doing some scrotum tucks or something. We'll get him on here. That'll be a good time. All right, we'll see you guys.